All right. I wonder if you guys can hear me and the music. We're just gonna find out. Hi everyone, I'm Nick. This is chart practice, astrological chart reading practice that I like to just for fun to see if what I see in the chart ends up being what ends up happening in the world, I guess. I don't know. Um, so yeah, recording a series here just to fuck around and find out. Um, so let's do a chart. Uh, Current transits. All right, so it's Thursday, November 13th at 7:53 in the PM. And this is the chart we're gonna throw up right now. This is the moment of everything. Let's see what happens. Oh yeah, cool. The song's ended. All right. So yeah, we've got a chart showing. Let's see if I can change some settings. Nah, I'm just gonna keep going with this. Okay, so let's see what we see. First thing that I notice in this chart, my eyes go to is this Scorpio right here, this trine going on right here. We're at 22 degrees of Scorpio with the sun. And then also these two guys. So Mercury has gone retrograde in Sagittarius. That retrograde happened Sunday. So it's been 1, 2, 3, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 days now. Yesterday it hit a conjunction with Mars. This happened on my natal Saturn. So that was fun because it's pushing me into high gear when it comes to teaching, showcasing what I've learned, and in general, just putting the information out there and blabbing. So that's the first two things my eyes are drawn to. Like I said before in the last video, and will continue saying, I am an intuitive chart reader. Obviously, I study quite a bit and took 5 or so years of study before I started doing this. Also, reading people's charts, reading for people. But the big thing that I do is I open up a chart and I just say, where are my eyes going to go? Where am I drawn to? And the first thing that I was drawn to here was 22-degree sun in Scorpio, 25-degree Saturn in Pisces, and a 25-degree also recently retrograded Jupiter. So what do we want to talk about? Oh, and also, and then that leads me down here to this. So this is the moment right now, is some Moon South Node Virgo conjunction energy, always going to be opposite the North Node. And let's remember here, is it Ketu is the South Node, Rahu is the North Node. I could be wrong. So South Node behaviors, South Node things, South Node energies are going to be things that are familiar, but perhaps things that keep you maybe in a place that's, let's just say, in a place that you've been before, been there, done that energy. In Virgo, we can interpret this right now as kind of like emotionally letting go of some things that you were super OCD or focused, fixated to the point of paralysis by analysis. That's always the Virgo kind of shadow is just like stuck on something. And part of the reason I'm doing this and being creative right now and just reading this chart is to unstick myself from a lot of the times where I say, I'm not a good enough astrologer. Oh no, I didn't do the right thing in this moment. So this moment, I'm bringing the personal and my personal experience in this, but also for a lot of us collectively, because what I'm experiencing also probably resonates in other people's experiences, human experiences. And that's why I do these videos. So those are going to be the things that I kind of on the jump off. What I notice is this big water trine, this triangle right here. So that's sun, personality, consciousness, shining. That's Saturn, the great restrictor, the teacher, the schoolmaster, the taskmaster, boundaries and obstacles. and Jupiter, the big happy Buddha, the beneficent, the greater beneficent, um, all three of which are in these emotional waters, which can be incredible for creativity, can be tumultuous for returning to things in the past. But in tarot, we think of cups as the suit of water. And so in the sky, we're looking at Cancer, Pisces, and Scorpio. And so that's making this big water trine where things are flowing. Um, in that 120-degree angle, that aspect, in that trine, things move and are shared, and you find ease. So, what's the story here? We've been in these scorpionic waters for a little while. Venus is there in Scorpio. The sun is there in Scorpio. I've also got Lilith, Venus conjunct. So, this is Lilith um, right there. And I think the major thing that people are going to be feeling is this guy, is Mercury and Mars. Mercury being retrograde, so review, reflect, revise is what happens with a retrograde, right? But Mars is going to kind of be a go, get it, do it action. So there's going to be a little bit of a push-pull, attention, right? So this could be a reflection on how you've gone and got it before, a reflection on what things are happening in or have happened in the past in your Sagittarius house. So, in this chart, Sagittarius is in the sixth house. So there's that sixth house, and then the sign of Sagittarius. I'm doing whole sign. But for everyone, individually, Sagittarius is going to fall in a different house. For me, it falls in my ninth house. So a lot of reflecting and acting in the sense of educating and conveying this information. Also, like I said, with my Saturn there, so taskmaster teacher, I'm living it right now. Astrology is alive and it happens and opens up in conversation. So the more you can have a conversation with your chart, particularly by finding what houses these little clusters are happening in, the more you can unlock a conversation about where in your life things are showing up, where they're manifesting, where they're in a physical sense occurring. Could it be, if Mercury and Mars in Sagittarius is happening in your third house, it could be a neighborhood thing. It could be a sibling thing. If it were happening in the seventh house, it could be in your partnership. If it were happening in the 11th, it could be around groups or friends. So each of these houses is going to help locate where that's occurring in your life. So let's get back to the story. The story right now is this push-pull tension, this reflection on Sagittarius themes. So mutable fire, the way you've moved inspiration, the way you've traveled things, be they ideas in the mental sphere, be they stories, the different ways you've learned or output. I'm seeing this in sort of a creative, artistic reflection moment because that's what's going on in my life. I'm looking through a lot of old mixes, old photography, old writings, old poetry, all kinds of things that my Mars ruled chart created in the past. And so, this one way to work on this is Mars is the kind of acting forward, pushing, initiating energy, and Mercury is the mind. But in this case, Mercury is retrograding. So thinking, how did I use technology, writing, or my mind to initiate projects in the past? Maybe revisiting some projects that you thought had burned out a little bit, but maybe they are rekindled in this moment. So that's kind of our Mercury Mars story. And of course, Mercury will continue on um, all the way into late November. I'm sorry, will continue backwards to late November and make its way back into Scorpio. So the story will shift from being Sagittarian mutable fire themes to moving into Scorpionic fixed water themes. But for now, it's fire, fire, fire. But there's also looking at this through the lens of fixed water, of emotional presence with Saturn and with Jupiter. And so another really cool thing that just happened, you might notice that some of these numbers here, boom, 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 and boom, are red. So that's going to denote retrograde. So there's a lot of retrograde energy in the field right now. We've got Jupiter at 25 degrees, most recently having gone retrograde. Neptune and Saturn have been retrograding back through Pisces, doing their thing for a minute, and Mercury is retrograding from Sagittarius, eventually making its way into into Scorpio. Now we've also got, and this is the one that just so happened to occur yesterday. So it's been retrograde, retrograde, retrograde things. So a lot of review, reflect, revise. Is the thing I think about with retrogrades. I'll get to Uranus in a second, but with this trine, there's emotional reflection on boundaries, the arts, rules, the ways I was maybe deluded or illusions got the best of me. And then with Jupiter, the story, especially in Cancer, can be about home, care, nurture. What are the ways I created that in the past for myself? And what are the ways maybe going forward my needs have changed around care, around nurture, around things like that? So this trine is going to be very supportive and helpful. And this fire right here and this water can make for kind of emotions and then sort of ideas and things igniting and then kind of plunging into something of depth and then sort of spreading ideas around, but a lot of retrograde. So again, the push-pull feeling. So this is a really, I'm going to say this is a really good time to reflect on your practice, whatever that is, a spiritual practice, an art practice, also potentially, your workout practice, your food, your cooking, your habits, your practice of life in this moment is very open for reflecting on and also for looking at yourself with a compassionate, loving kind of heart. That's really what in this moment I'm feeling I see in this chart. There's, this letting go of something in the Virgo with the moon and the South Node. There's almost things being just kind of released. There's a surrender of moving forward into the North Node Pisces place, right? There's this nice little supportive thing going on where we have a trine from Uranus to Pluto. A lot of retrograde energy, but I think that the big message that's coming through in this moment is um, going through the files, going through the archives, going through the stories. Some are going to come up that are choppy and painful. Some are going to come up that are difficult to revisit. And you don't have to revisit all of them. This isn't by no means a homework assignment. This is flow with it, feel with it, see what comes around, and be water with it, right? Because eventually what's going to happen is Mercury is going to come back into that watery space too. And this trine right now is really the major energy, but there's also this kind of reflection on what is home, what was my relationship with resources, with beauty and aesthetics? How did that change over the course of the long Uranus transit through Taurus? Now, this is the end of a 7-year chapter here. We're revisiting one last time before we go into Gemini for good. So, depending again on what house it's hitting. So if this is in your 11th house, like it is on this chart, Taurus in the 11th, it can be about the resources of beautiful groups of people, the way that you can connect with others and share things that you love, cooking class, a passion you have. Maybe it's all your astrology friends. Maybe it's all the people you go to yoga with. The ways in which these groups can transform by being a fixed resource in your life for good, or sometimes, with Uranus, shocking you in the ways that you didn't expect, or giving you kind of an awakening of certain things about the way those groups can have an influence in your life. So Uranus, a really good one I recently heard was like the way the lightning breaks the clouds, the way a storm feels tense and you feel the electricity in the air, and then boom, all of a sudden, right? The lightning comes down and breaks, and then the water comes down. Um, so Uranus can come into our lives and create an awakening, a shocking, but really what it's doing is it's releasing a tension that was there. And it's a relief, but it can be life changing. It can be shattering in some ways, but it can also be an awareness that we didn't have there in that place in our life before. So Uranus retrograde is a reflection on the fixed earth things that were happening. And again, check that Taurus house, see what that is in your chart. So we've got the trine, we've got this kind of and this of course is also coming back to as Mercury makes its way back, it's going to come to an opposition with Uranus to really reevaluate what that journey has been, what that story has been of Uranus in Taurus, and then Mercury is going to make its way back into Scorpio, where we'll get our Kazemi moment when it's conjunct the sun. But I think in this particular moment, the message and the vibe is work with the waters. Think fire and water, and think what happens sometimes when the action, the activity, the mental activity created something that pulled from the depths of your emotions and conveyed something beautiful. And then also there's this letting go of the thing in a creative artistic way. It doesn't have to be perfect, and that's exactly what I'm doing today, imperfectly conveying this astrology as best I can. And I think I'm just going to leave it there. That's what November 13th, 2025, Thursday at 7:53 p.m. feels like here in Central Oregon. So once again, my name's Nick. I'm an astrologer and a tarot reader and a wayfinder and a guide and a death doula and a psychedelic integration coach. And I do a number of different things working with people. But mostly what I do is geek out about the different tools I have to help people. So I'm doing that here online and just sharing what I share. So you can find me at nickxavierstudio.com. You can connect with me on Instagram at Greenman Readings. And if you want to give me an email and just connect personally, it's nickthegreenman@gmail.com. And I would love to chat more and talk about astrology and all things whatever with you, all things creative. See what happens. All right. Much love.